First Contact and Betrayal. Commander Elena Reyes stood at the observation deck of the ESV Pathfinder, watching as the massive diplomatic station of the Galactic Council grew larger against the backdrop of Ta City. The blue-green planet below loomed behind the gleaming silver structure, a testament to how far humanity had ventured and how much further they could go. "Commander, we're receiving docking instructions," Lieutenant Jackson reported from the communication station, his voice carrying a mixture of excitement and tension that mirrored Elena's own feelings. "Acknowledged," Elena replied, straightening her formal Navy uniform adorned with the Earth Alliance insignia. At 38, her long black hair was pulled back in a tight bun, her olive skin smooth, but for the faint scar that ran along her jawline, a reminder of the Martian conflict that had eventually united Earth under a single banner. "Is the diplomatic team prepared?" she asked, turning to Dr. Sophia Lynn, the xenobiologist who headed the scientific contingent. "As ready as we'll ever be," Sophia replied, her eyes not leaving her data tablet. "The comparative biology and linguistics packages are ready. If they want to know about humanity, we've got the answers." Elena nodded, her hand unconsciously touching the small obsidian pendant hidden beneath her uniform, a gift from her grandmother in Mexico City and her personal talisman. "Remember, we represent all of humanity today. The impression we make will echo for generations." The Pathfinder slid smoothly into its assigned berth, magnetic clamps securing it with barely a shudder. Elena took a deep breath, centering herself as she'd been trained to do during her years in Earth's Space Force. "Let's make history," she said. The diplomatic station's docking bay was a marvel of engineering, a cavernous space where vessels of wildly different designs coexisted in defiance of their disparate origins. As Elena led her team through the airlock, she was greeted by a delegation of aliens so diverse that her extensive briefings barely prepared her. Leading the welcoming committee was Ambassador Trelixol of the Aetherian Union, a being with silver-blue skin that seemed to shimmer with internal light. Their 4 arms were held in a gesture that Elena recognized as formal welcome. "Commander Rise of Earth," Trelixol's translated voice came smoothly through the universal translator pinned to Elena's collar. "The Galactic Council welcomes humanity to the greater community of sentient species." Elena executed the perfect diplomatic bow she had practiced countless times. "Ambassador Trelixol, on behalf of Earth and all humanity, we extend our gratitude for your welcome and our hope for a peaceful and prosperous relationship." The formalities continued as Elena and her team were introduced to representatives of a dozen different species: the aquatic Nereidians with their water-filled environmental suits, the crystalline quartz collective who communicated through light patterns, the insectoid Vesperi whose compound eyes reflected Elena's image in hundreds of tiny mirrors. But it was the Zalvari delegation that caught Elena's attention. Standing apart from the others, the 3 Zalvari observed with an air of detached superiority. Their tall, slender frames were wrapped in elaborate crimson robes, their pale skin had a faint greenish tinge, and their entirely black eyes revealed nothing. "High Counselor Krextor of the Zalvari hegemony," Trelixol introduced, with what Elena thought might be a hint of tension. Krextor inclined his head slightly, barely the minimum politeness required. "Commander," he said, his translated voice smooth and cold. "How fascinating that your species has advanced so quickly from primitive radio signals to faster-than-light travel in less than a century. Most unusual." Elena maintained her diplomatic smile. "Humanity has always been curious and determined, High Counselor. We look forward to learning from the wisdom of established species such as yours." Something flickered in those black eyes. Amusement, contempt. It was impossible to tell. "Indeed," Krextor replied. "We have much to teach you." The following days were filled with diplomatic meetings, cultural exchanges, and a complex dance of interspecies politics. Elena learned that the Galactic Council comprised 27 species from across the local galactic arm, with varying levels of technological advancement and influence. The Zalvari, she discovered, had been among the founding members, and held significant power through their control of key trade routes and advanced technology. During a formal dinner on the third day, Alina found herself seated beside Morven, a Neridian diplomat whose transparent environment suit revealed a sinuous blue-scaled form. "Commander Reyes," Morven's voice bubbled through his translator, "your species has made quite an impression. Not everyone expected humans to be so adaptable." Alina sipped her water carefully. "We've had a lot of practice adapting to challenges on Earth. It's in our nature." "A useful trait," Morven replied, his large liquid eyes blinking slowly. "Especially now." "What do you mean by that?" Alina asked, keeping her tone casual. Morven's gills fluttered, a sign of nervousness, according to Alina's briefing. "The Council is not always united in its approach to new species. Some believe in mentorship and gradual integration. Others prefer different methods." Alina nodded, understanding the unspoken warning. "And where do the Zalvari stand on this spectrum?" "The hegemony has maintained its position for 12,000 years," Morven said carefully. "They do not welcome disruption." Before Alina could press further, a chime announced the next course, and Morven turned to his other dining companion. That night, unable to sleep, Alina accessed the historical archives the Council had provided to Earth. Reading between the lines, she began to notice a pattern. Species that had risen quickly, developing technologies that might challenge Zalvari dominance, tended to suffer mysterious setbacks or conflicts that left them dependent on Zalvari assistance. She was still reviewing the data when her secure comm unit chimed. It was a message from Dr. Lin. "Need to see you immediately. Lab Section 23C." Alina found Sophia in a small analysis lab, her face grim as she gestured toward a microscopic projection. "What am I looking at?" Alina asked. "Nanomachines," Sophia replied, enlarging the image. "I found them in our food, our water. They're everywhere on this station, but they're not part of the station systems. They're specifically designed to analyze human biology." Alina felt a chill run down her spine. "Someone's studying us." "Not just studying," Sophia said, her voice low. "I think they're looking for weaknesses, biological vulnerabilities unique to humans." Over the next 2 days, Alina discreetly gathered more information. She cultivated relationships with the more friendly species, particularly the Etherians and the Quartz Collective, who seemed genuinely interested in peaceful cooperation with Earth. During a private meeting with Trelloc, she carefully broached the subject of the nanomachines. "A concerning discovery," Trelloc admitted, their skin shifting to a deep indigo. "An indication of distress in Etherian body language. This violates Council protocols on new species integration. I will investigate discreetly." "Could the Zalvari be responsible?" Alina asked directly. Trelloc skin flickered with patterns that the translator couldn't interpret, emotion too complex for the system. "I cannot accuse without evidence, but historically, the hegemony has protected its interests aggressively." The following morning, Trelloc's aide delivered a secure data crystal to Alina. "The ambassador sends this with utmost discretion," the aide whispered. In her private quarters, Alina accessed the crystal's contents. It contained historical records not included in the official archives. Detailed accounts of how the Zalvari had systematically undermined rising species, particularly those showing rapid technological advancement. Most disturbing were records of diplomatic incidents where promising species representatives had died suddenly during their introduction to the Council. Alina immediately compiled a secure transmission to Earth, including all the evidence she'd gathered. As she encoded it with her personal quantum key, she added a final message. "Recommend immediate activation of Protocol Cerberus. Evidence suggests hostile intent." She never got to send it. That evening, the Council held a formal ceremony to officially recognize Earth as an observing member, the first step toward full membership. Alina stood before the assembled representatives, prepared to accept this honor on behalf of humanity. "The people of Earth are honored by this recognition," she began, her voice clear in the vast chamber. We come seeking friendship, knowledge, and peaceful cooperation. We offer the same in return." She continued her carefully prepared speech, aware of the Zolvari delegation watching her with unusual intensity. High Counselor Krex-Tor, in particular, seemed almost anticipatory. As she reached the ceremonial exchange of gifts, a crystal sphere containing Earth's artistic and cultural achievements, Alina felt a sudden sharp pain in her chest. She faltered slightly but maintained her composure through years of military discipline. "Are you well, Commander Reyes?" asked Trelixol, genuine concern in their voice. "Quite well," Alina managed, though she could feel an unnatural cold spreading through her body. As she handed the crystal sphere to the council speaker, she noticed Krex-Tor's satisfied expression. With sudden clarity, Alina understood. This was no coincidence. It was assassination, just as had happened to other promising species before. As the pain intensified, Alina excused herself and staggered back toward her delegation. Dr. Lin rushed to her side, her medical scanner already out. "Alina, your system is shutting down," she whispered urgently. "Some kind of targeted toxin. I can't." Alina knew she had only moments. With the last of her strength, she pressed the emergency button on her neural implant, a direct quantum link to Earth Defense Command that no alien technology could detect. The message was simple: betrayal. Her eyes found Sophia's, conveying everything she couldn't say aloud. Then Commander Alina Reyes, humanity's first envoy to the stars, collapsed on the chamber floor. In the chaos that followed, medical teams rushed forward, but it was already too late. The official cause would be recorded as a natural failure of her cardiovascular system, a tragic but unexpected medical event. As her body was respectfully covered, Krex-Tor approached the shaken Earth delegation. "Our deepest condolences," he said smoothly. "Rest assured, we will help guide humanity through this difficult transition." What he didn't know, what none of them knew, was that in a secure bunker deep beneath the Atlantic Ocean, Admiral Marcus Chen received Alina's final message. His weathered face showed no emotion as he activated Protocol Cerberus. The stars were about to witness something the Zolvari had never anticipated: humanity's wrath. Humanity's response. Admiral Marcus Chen stood motionless in the dimly lit Situation Room of Earth Defense Command, staring at the quantum receiver that had delivered Commander Rey's final message. A single word: betrayal. But it was enough. Protocol Cerberus was now active. "Sir," asked his aide, Lieutenant Commander Naomi Wright, "what are our orders?" Marcus' eyes remained fixed on the display. At 62, he had survived 3 wars and countless political skirmishes. His weathered face betrayed nothing of the cold fury building within him. Alina Reyes had been like a daughter to him. "Send the coded activation to all fleet elements," he said quietly. "Alert all outposts to Code Black, and get me the Earth Alliance Council." As Wright hurried to carry out his orders, Marcus accessed the secured files Alina had transmitted before her death. The evidence was damning. Nanomachines designed to analyze human biological weaknesses, historical records of similar diplomatic incidents, and detailed analysis of the Zolvari hegemony's pattern of sabotaging emerging species. "We trusted them," he whispered to himself, "and they chose to make an enemy of humanity." Above Earth, orbital defense platforms silently powered up advanced weapons systems that had been hidden from the Galactic Council's initial scans. Throughout the solar system, concealed military installations began preparing ships that had never been declared in the official registry provided to the Council. Marcus had always advocated for caution in dealing with advanced alien civilizations. The Earth Alliance had agreed, choosing to present themselves as less technologically capable than they actually were, showing only commercial drive systems and defensive capabilities while keeping their true military strength hidden. Now, that caution would prove invaluable. Meanwhile, at the Galactic Council's diplomatic station, Dr. Sophia Lin performed the grim duty of preparing Commander Rey's body for return to Earth. She maintained a stoic expression despite her grief and anger, knowing that surveillance was likely. The Zolveri's official story, that Elena had suffered a natural cardiovascular failure, was a transparent lie to anyone with medical training. A soft chime from her personal communicator drew her attention. It was a seemingly innocuous message about quarantine protocols, but Sophia recognized the embedded code. Cerberus active. Wait for extraction. Across the station, the remaining human delegation continued their scheduled meetings, showing appropriate grief but giving no indication that they suspected foul play. Lieutenant Jackson was especially convincing, appearing to lean on High Counselor Krextor's offered guidance during this difficult time. "We're so grateful for your wisdom, High Counselor," Jackson said, his voice carrying just the right amount of deference. Commander Reyes often spoke of how much humanity could learn from the Zolveri. Krextor's thin lips formed what passed for a smile among his species. "It is our duty to shepherd younger races. Your species shows remarkable potential, despite your impetuousness. With proper guidance, humans might find an acceptable place within the galactic community." "What exactly would that place be?" Jackson asked innocently. "One suited to your capabilities," Krextor replied smoothly. "Your manufacturing abilities are quite impressive for a species at your development stage. Under Zolveri direction, humans could become valuable producers of goods for more advanced civilizations. In other words," Jackson thought, "a client race. Servants at best, slaves at worst." 3 days after Commander Reyes' death, the ESV Pathfinder prepared to return to Earth, carrying her body and the subdued diplomatic team. The official farewell ceremony was brief, with expressions of condolence from most council representatives. The Zolveri delegation was conspicuously minimal in their participation. As the Pathfinder undocked, Krextor watched from a private observation deck, joined by his chief strategist, Vexnall. "The humans are leaving earlier than anticipated," Vexnall noted. "Are you certain this was wise, eliminating their representative so quickly?" "Our analysis suggested they could have been useful if properly managed." Krextor dismissed the concern with a wave of his long-fingered hand. "Their advancement curve was too steep. The nanoprobes revealed concerning data. Their neural architecture is remarkably adaptive, their genetic diversity excessive. Left unchecked, they would reach competitive technology levels within decades, not centuries." Still, Vexnall persisted. "Our standard protocol is to manipulate a species into conflict with their neighbors, not direct assassination." The commander was becoming suspicious, Krextor replied. "The targeted pathogen was necessary. Besides, humans are emotional creatures. The death of their leader will throw their government into disarray, making them more receptive to our guidance." He turned from the viewport. "Prepare a diplomatic mission to Earth. We will offer them protection and technology in exchange for resource rights. Within a generation, they will be fully dependent on us." Little did Krextor know that as the Pathfinder cleared the council station, it accelerated to speeds far beyond what humanity had claimed to possess, vanishing into FTL, not with the lumbering jump drive the council had observed, but with a sleek, instantaneous transition that left no trace. 6 days later, a Zolveri diplomatic vessel approached Earth, expecting to find a grieving, confused civilization ripe for manipulation. What they found instead was an orbital defense grid far more extensive than humanity had disclosed, and a reception committee that was anything but welcoming. Admiral Chen personally led the delegation that met the Zolveri ship at the outer defensive perimeter. His flagship, the EASV Nemesis, dwarfed the alien vessel, its hull bristling with weapons systems that had never been included in Earth's technology disclosure to the Council. "High Counselor," Marcus greeted Krextor via video link, his voice level. "Welcome to Earth space. I must inform you that your vessel is now under quarantine protocols." Krextor's black eyes narrowed. "Quarantine? On what grounds, Admiral?" "Medical precaution," Marcus replied. "We've detected an unusual pathogen in Commander Reyes' system, one with a remarkable similarity to a biological agent developed by the Zolvari hegemony approximately 300 years ago, according to historical records provided by several council species. The High Counselor's composure slipped for just an instant. "That is a serious accusation, Admiral. Commander Reyes' unfortunate death was unnatural." "Let's dispense with the charade," Marcus interrupted. "We know what you did. We know why you did it. And we know this isn't the first time." With a gesture, Marcus activated a holographic display showing detailed scans of the nanomachines found in Alina's system, alongside historical records that had been secretly provided by sympathetic council species after her death. 53 species, Marcus continued. That's how many promising civilizations the Zolvari have sabotaged over the past millennium. Sometimes through manipulated conflicts, sometimes through economic dependence, and sometimes, his eyes hardened, through assassination disguised as natural causes. Krextor's expression became calculating. "Even if these fabricated accusations were true, Admiral, what exactly do you think one primitive species can do against the oldest civilization in the Council? The Zolvari hegemony commands technologies you cannot imagine." Marcus allowed himself a small, cold smile. "That's where you're wrong, Counselor. Humanity has always prepared for the worst while hoping for the best. What you saw of our technology was exactly what we wanted you to see." On his signal, a massive holographic display activated, showing the full extent of Earth's defense fleet emerging from hidden bases throughout the solar system. Hundreds of ships with technology that clearly rivaled or exceeded Zolvari capabilities. "You see, Counselor, we've been watching the stars for centuries, picking up transmissions, studying the galaxy long before you knew we existed. We hoped for peaceful contact, but we planned for alternatives." Krextor's face had gone rigid. "This is impossible. Your species only achieved FTL 30 years ago." "No," Marcus corrected. "That's when we chose to reveal our FTL capability. We've had it for nearly a century. Just as we've had quantum communication, advanced weapons systems, and medical technology far beyond what we shared with the Council." The Admiral leaned forward. "Now here's what's going to happen. Your vessel will remain in quarantine while we present our evidence to the full Galactic Council, representatives from the Aetherian Union. The Quartz Collective and 15 other species have already agreed to review our case." For the first time, genuine alarm showed on Krextor's face. "The Council will never." "They already have," Marcus interrupted. "Your own arrogance blinded you, Counselor. Did you really think you were the only ones keeping secrets? Many Council species have resented Zolvari dominance for millennia, but lacked the strength to challenge you. Humanity is offering them that opportunity." 2 weeks later, a historic session of the Galactic Council convened. The evidence presented by humanity was overwhelming, not just regarding Commander Reyes' assassination, but detailing centuries of Zolvari manipulation and sabotage of emerging species. The council chambers erupted in chaos as millennia of resentment boiled over. Species that had long suffered under Zolvari influence finally spoke out, protected by Earth's military presence and the alliance that was rapidly forming around this newcomer species that had so cleverly hidden its true capabilities. In the aftermath, the Zolvari hegemony was stripped of its founding member status and placed under sanctions. Krextor and his inner circle faced trial for crimes against sentient beings, the first such proceeding in Council history. 1 year after Commander Alina Reyes' death, her successor, Ambassador Sophia Lynn, stood before the reformed Galactic Council. Behind her, Earth's new diplomatic station orbited in neutral space, a monument to Alina's sacrifice and a symbol of the new balance of power. "Humanity does not seek dominance," Sophia addressed the assembled representatives. "We seek partnership. The stars are vast enough for all of us to thrive without subjugation or fear." As she spoke, a memorial was unveiled, a statue of Commander Reyes, her hand extended in greeting, her face serene but determined. At the base, an inscription in multiple languages read, "In darkness she brought light. In death she brought change." Throughout the council chamber, representatives from dozens of species, including several emerging civilizations newly freed from Zolvari manipulation, rose in respect. Among them stood Admiral Marcus Chen, now gray-haired but standing tall, watching as humanity took its rightful place among the stars, not as conquerors or servants, but as equals who had taught the galaxy a powerful lesson. Never underestimate those who reach for the stars with both hope and caution in their hearts.